Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics. So today, Labour put forward a motion in the House of Commons to take over business later in the month. Now, they would use this to try and legislate to prevent the next Prime Minister from dismissing Parliament, proroguing Parliament, as I discussed last week, and heading out of the EU via a no-deal Brexit. Now, ironically, the government opposing the motion today said that it's unconstitutional for MPs to take over the business of the House. It is not. It is indeed how business is supposed to be arranged. It's unusual because governments usually have majorities who give them free rein to do as they like. But not only does this Parliament not have a majority government, it doesn't even have, a government of any kind, really, until the Conservatives elect a new leader. It's all very lame duck. And of course, at that point, Parliament then has to confirm that Prime Minister. So what is unconstitutional is disbanding Parliament for the expressed purpose of wielding unchecked executive power. It must not be allowed to happen, and it will not be allowed to happen, so say enough MPs who actually have the power to stop it. But the vote for the motion was defeated by 309 votes against and 98 in favour. 10 Conservative MPs voted in favour of the motion, including Dominic Grieve, who gave a speech in the Commons today, making it crystal clear that he will bring down his own government to prevent a no-deal Brexit that doesn't have the authority of Parliament. And when the results were read out, Jeremy Corbyn cried out, "You won't be cheering in September." And what did he mean by this? Put simply, Parliament has voted to allow the new Prime Minister to wield their executive power in whatever manner they see fit. Perhaps the Conservative MPs who voted against it believe that the new leader won't actually go through with plans for a no-deal exit. Perhaps they just don't want to vote against their new leadership before they even know who it is. It's also worth remembering that the vote was defeated due to 8 Labour Brexiteer MPs who are fully on board with a no-deal Brexit. But the fact remains that there are enough MPs in Parliament who will stop a no-deal Brexit at all costs. Legislating to prevent a Prime Minister from unilaterally taking us out without Parliament's approval was the preferred option for many. Now it's possible that the same ploy could still be used in September, and perhaps then it would win through. But if we assume that this was the last chance to tie the new Prime Minister's hands to the will of Parliament, then only one option remains. If the government attempts to run down the clock and take us out without negotiating an extension with the EU Council, then Jeremy Corbyn, as leader of the opposition, will put forward a no-confidence motion in the government. Even pro-Brexit Labour MPs will vote in favour of this. After all, Corbyn wants Labour to take us out of the EU anyway. But there are several Conservative MPs that have openly said that they will vote against the government should the motion be brought as the only option to stop a no-deal. Now, I'm not going to lie, it would take a certain amount of moral courage to do this. Not only would they be voting against their own party in government, which is the ultimate no-no, but for the first time in goodness knows how long, even safe Tory seats are, not so safe now. You may have noticed that Theresa May has promised to stay on as a backbench MP once she is no longer Prime Minister. Now, is this to serve her constituents, as she said, or because she fears the Brexit Party? There will certainly be some Conservative MPs who might otherwise have felt safe in their seats that fear losing them to Farage's upstarts. Such MPs will be desperate to avoid a general election on personal grounds, if not for the sake of the party. But with so many of the likely leadership candidates promising that we will leave at the end of October, come what may, and with this motion being defeated, it becomes almost impossible to avoid a general election. If the new Prime Minister takes steps to take us out without a deal, Parliament will instantly take countermeasures. Now, it may be in the form of legislation as they tried today, but it may equally be in the form of taking no chances and voting against the government. After all, it's not like anyone really knows what sort of legislation would clip the Prime Minister's wings. How do you legislate to stop the Prime Minister simply refusing to do as Parliament insists? Now, if it turns out that the new Prime Minister loses their nerve and seeks another extension, in line with a vote in Parliament, then the hardline Brexiteers will instantly cry foul and probably feel justified in voting against the government themselves. Corbyn won't care which faction supports him, just as long as one of them does. Although the ERG promised to defeat May's government in a confidence vote, they never actually did it. They threatened it twice in the Commons that I can recall, never actually did it. Possibly because she was actually acting in line with her own promises, and it would have maybe seemed disloyal to the party. But to vote against a Prime Minister who goes against his or her election promise might be more palatable for them. So it still comes down to what I said last week. A new Prime Minister being elected by party members on an impossible promise of taking us out of the EU by the end of October will be Prime Minister for a few months only. A Pyrrhic victory. All in all, Jeremy Corbyn might not mind this motion being defeated today. After all, it moves him one step closer to his prize of a general election. So I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe for further content, and until next time, I'll see you later.